how to enhance your disability sales. As always, we can't hear you, so if you have questions, please type them in the box, and we'll hopefully get to them at the end of the presentation. Today's so exciting, I'm going to hand it over right away to our Business Development Manager, Ben Coleman. Take it away, Ben.
Hey, Andrew, thank you. I appreciate that. Good afternoon, good morning, folks. Again, let me echo Andrew's sentiments. Thanks for being here today. It is going to be great. It's a DI Marketing Bootcamp presentation where we're going to help you prospect and get you some more disability insurance business. So I want to jump right into it. I'm going to do my best to keep it to about 25 to 30 minutes. As Andrew pointed out, if there are any questions, do not hesitate to type them in that box, and we will do our best to answer them at the end of the presentation. So without further ado, why pursue a career as a disability insurance broker? Now, is that your niche? Is that what you completely focus on right now? Most of the people out there, and even most of the agents that work with us, disability insurance is not their main focus. But it's definitely a career that you can consider pursuing. And why is that? Well, one, it's a very lucrative product in a very lucrative industry. There's an extremely strong need for disability insurance, and market timing couldn't be better. Well, what do I mean by this? There's always going to be a strong need to help protect your client or your prospect's assets. And in this case, with disability insurance, we're protecting their most important asset, their paycheck, their ability to earn a living, their ability to earn an income. So there's an extremely strong need all the time for any of your clients or any of your prospects to protect this asset. And the timing couldn't be better. All of us know what has occurred over the past 2.5, 3 years in this current economic climate. We are in the worst recession that we've been in, the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. So at this particular time, there's people out there, your clients, your prospects, that are worried about losing their jobs and losing their income. Well, it's not too far-fetched to think, well, what if I lost my income due to becoming sick or hurt? So I think a lot of folks out there have this in their back of their mind. They're thinking about it. All this coming together is a perfect time for you to pursue being a career disability agent. Even if your strong suits happen to be in life insurance, annuities, health, P&C, whatever it may be, it's always a good time to start talking about disability insurance. Well, here's what I'm going to be talking about today. We're going to uncover the best DI markets. We're going to show you your perfect DI prospect, examples of critical marketing tools, building your baseline DI expertise, initiating the first contact with your client or with your prospect strategically, what's the best approach, and then finally emphasizing the need for paycheck protection. How do we do that? That's what we're going to talk about today. Okay, well, the first thing I want to discuss is uncovering the best DI markets. And we believe the top 4 DI markets have one thing in common. They're high-income earners who have the strong need to protect their paychecks. So what are these top 4 niches? Your white-collar professionals, your business owners, executives, and employees. Now, don't get me wrong. There are other DI markets out there, and maybe some of you are focusing on those currently. But if you're new to the DI industry or selling paycheck protection, as we like to call it, these are definitely the top 4 DI markets out there that you can and you should be getting involved in. Again, white-collar professionals, business owners, executives, and employees. So let's break these down one by one a little bit more. Okay, white-collar professionals. Who do they? Medical schools, architects, engineers, CPAs, and other professions. Well, the average premium that we've seen, and this is backed up by LIMRA, the average DI premium is about $4,500 annually for your white-collar professionals. Now, that's double the industry average premium of $2,200. In case you're not familiar with how compensation works on the DI side, typically, depending on the carrier, it's about 50% first-year commission plus renewals. Now, that's also very important to remember, plus renewals, and that's usually years 2 through 10. And let me tell you something else about DI policies. Again, this is from LIMRA. The persistency on a disability policy is 12.2 years. Now compare that to the cost of a term life insurance product, which is only 6.6 years. So your DI policies are staying on the books almost double a term life insurance policy. Now keep in mind, you're getting your first-year commission on this premium along with those 5% renewals. So again, your white-collar professionals, your docs, your dentists, attorneys, CPAs, their average premium is $4,500, and that's double the industry average. Now, what else is available to these white-collar professionals? It's the strongest definition of disability. Now, the strongest definition out there is what is called true own occupation definition. True own occ, what that states is, if your client cannot perform the material or substantial duties of their occupation, but they can go choose and do something else, they're still going to receive their full monthly benefit on top of what they're earning in another profession. The quickest and easiest example I can give is if you have a surgeon, a client that's using their hands on a regular basis, they become disabled, they lose their manual dexterity, they can no longer perform surgery, but they can still be a general practitioner or perhaps a consultant or a teacher. They're going to receive their full monthly DI benefit on top of whatever they're earning as a consultant or a general practitioner. The reason for that is we were specifically insuring their occupation as a surgeon. And now that they no longer have the ability to use their hands to perform surgery, that qualifies them under this true own occ definition to collect the full monthly benefit on top of what they're earning. It's almost like double dipping. So that's great. It's really the sizzle that sells the steak, especially to these white-collar professionals. Okay. Let's talk about business owners. Again, some of you, if you're already working with business owners, you may know that many in this audience earn very high incomes, but they don't often have access to group insurance. So we want to make sure that we're protecting their paycheck. Now, this is another quick, good sales idea. You may have heard me talk about this in the past, but when we're talking about disability insurance, let's actually tell them what it is. Or excuse me, don't tell me what it is, tell me what it does. So what are we doing? We're protecting their paycheck. So don't call it disability insurance, call it paycheck protection. So for business owners, there's a couple of different things we want to protect for them, right? They have their own paycheck coming in, but they also have their baby, their golden goose, the business that they've created from the ground up. So we want to be able to make sure they protect their business in case anything happens to them as well. Now, there's a product out there called business overhead expense. So it's important to protect that cash flow. We call it cash flow protection. That's what a business overhead expense policy will do. If they were to go out on claim, the BOE will reimburse them based on what their monthly expenses are to keep their doors open. So if they're so sick or injured that they cannot go to work, we want to make sure that all those monthly expenses are being met so that they don't have to close up shop and sell their business. Now, what else is important to business owners? We know taxation can be very important. Well, guess what? This business overhead expense policy is a tax-free benefit where you can deduct the premiums. So it's, to them, it's almost a win-win situation. Tax-free benefits, and you're able to deduct the premiums. Why is that? Because a BOE policy can be written off as a business expense. So keep that in mind. Now, look at this. This is another great statistic from LIMRA, Life Insurance Marketing Research Association, that tells us only of the 5.9 million small business owners in our country, there's only 23% that have any form of disability coverage, whether it's individual, group, business overhead expense. Now, that's a very untapped market. So there's plenty of opportunity for you out there, if you're not already working with business owners, to go out there and take advantage and help them protect not only their paycheck, but that other asset, which is the company. So definitely target your business owners. Andrew, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, I just want to add one thing. I got a great sales idea for all you agents out there who do work with business owners. Find out whether or not they've owned the business for 2 years. And why I say that is most of the 10 carriers that we work with will offer a business owner discount or upgrade. So right away, a great sales idea is you meet a business owner, you can tell them right away, hey, I can get you a discount, because these carriers offer these built-in discounts for business owners. In addition, we're also seeing carriers now offer discounts if your client purchases both individual disability and business overhead. So they're starting to make it more affordable now for business owners, and they're marketing different products for you.
Andrew, thank you. I've got a couple of quick questions that I'll answer right now during the presentation. One from John. Are you going to be able to receive a copy of this presentation for reviewing with other supporting staff? Yes. If you know anyone that was unable to attend this presentation, there's a couple different things we're going to do for you. We always record these presentations so you can look at them again on our website with the slides and all that. You'll also receive an article for attending today that will mirror this presentation that we've got going on. So it'll review everything that Andrew and I are talking about. So keep your eyes peeled for that about an hour after the presentation. And then Barbara, you've got a good question in regards to the own occupation that we discussed. How long is that own occ available? Excellent question. That will actually go all the way out until retirement age 67. Most of the carriers that we represent 12 in the marketplace, have a true own occ definition that goes to retirement age, which is age 67. I'm sure you may have heard of, own occs in the past that are only a 2-year own occ or a 5-year own occ, and then after that it goes to an any occ occupation. We have the best available that will cover you as long as you own that policy to age 67. So, okay, great. Thanks, guys. Those are 2 great questions. Let's move along here as we're talking about our prospects and our marketplace. Okay, the executives. Well, again, executives are, as we know, can be very high income earners. So we want to make sure they're protecting their own paycheck. And a lot of times you'll run into executives that already have some type of group plan in force. Now, how does group usually work? Well, first of all, it typically states that it covers 60% of someone's income up to a certain cap. Could be $5,000, could be $10,000. So if you have a high-earning executive that's making, $250,000 a year or more, if they were to get disabled and they have their group plan that's only covering 60% up to $10,000 a month, is that really going to be enough for them to live on? Now let me take that a step further. Most group plans are taxable. It might say it's 60%, but when it's 60%, not 60%, that's when it's taxed. So if you have an executive that has a group policy in force, that's great. But we want to supplement on top of that. We want to protect as much of that paycheck as possible, so we're going to supplement with individual coverage on top. Now, why else is the executive marketplace a good target for you? Why should you go after those executives? Well, another great reason is because you can speak to these executives about offering DI as an employee benefit to their employees. So it can be a voluntary plan, and by doing this, if you've got an executive that has at least 3 people working for that company, you can get a multi-life discount. And this is where you see amazing, significant savings for folks, for employees, up to 47%. And I will let you know that 47% savings is typically for females. Be that as it may, you're still providing a discount to both the males and the females on top of just paying for a DI policy on a straight gender distinct rate. So you can go in there, speak to these executives. Maybe they protect their own paycheck and they feel like, you know what, that's a good idea. I'm going to offer this as an employer benefit to my folks. Well, by doing that, you can offer this DI with the discount. Again, as I mentioned, 3 or more lives. What else? What's another policy that executives can either take out on themselves or a key employee. Well, it's key person disability. This is available to anyone that is valuable to the company. If Andrew and I owned our own business and I wanted to make sure that if something happened to Andrew, I could take his salary and replace him, I would get a key person disability policy. I know his worth. I know what he's being paid his salary. And if I lost him, that would be detrimental to my business. So I want to make sure I'm protected. So I take out a key person policy on my colleague Andrew here. Now, executives can do that for anyone in their company, whether it be a fellow executive or it could be somebody that's just bringing in a lot of revenue to the company. If they're valuable and they can prove that they're valuable, we can take out key person disability. So that's another good product to keep in mind. We've talked about individual coverage. We've talked about business overhead coverage. There's also key person DI available. Okay, our final market, employees, which we've kind of briefly just touched on, is the ability for an employee to have a voluntary DI benefit as part of that supplement to employer-paid group plans. So you may find as a disability insurance agent out there, when you're going out and talking to these HR departments and seeing what's available, what's being offered for employer benefits, that there's a group plan in force. Well, what did we just talk about with group? Group's great, and that's fantastic that the employer is providing that. But keep in mind, your definitions aren't going to be as strong. More often than not, it's a taxable benefit. And guess what? Group's also not portable. Individual policies are portable. So if you offer this DI policy to employees, if they leave the company, guess what? They can take their individual DI with them. You cannot take your group product. So that's another key factor to remember. Individual DI, portable, non-taxable. Multi-life, which we just briefly touched on, your 3 or more lives. There's also something called Guaranteed Simplified Issue, very similar to the multi-life where you receive the discount, but there's an additional bonus here. Simplified issue. We all love that, right? The underwriting is made simple. No APS reports, no income documentation, no personal history interviews, just a short application. Now, before this is offered, I will let you know the carriers will review a census based on the type of employees you're trying to get this program for. And typically, they'll review it, depending on the ages, the incomes, the occupations. They'll come back with an offer. And it could be up to $5,000 a month, 90 days to age 67. Oh, not. It depends on the group that you're going after. But I want to make this known to you that it is available. So if you have any questions, if you think you've got a group of 5 employees or 10 employees and you want to do simplified issue, do not hesitate to call us and let us review that census and let us shop it with all the carriers we work with. Multi-life voluntary GSI is out there and available to you. Take advantage of it. This is where you're going to get coverage for those employees. And again, just reiterating the point, 3 or more lives can save you significant discounts, especially on the females. And the other nice thing about GSI, which is pointed out here, 5 or more lives, no one is declined. So if you'd like more information on that, please let us know.
Hey, I want to interrupt you, Ben, and just let you know that we're actually going to give away our first CE credit voucher. We're going to give it to Craig Fowler. We want to thank you, Craig, for joining us today and joining us on other webinars. We have your contact information, so we will contact you after the webinar to go over the details. Thanks, Craig.
Andrew, thank you. Yeah, Craig, congratulations. You are the first recipient of our CE voucher for the day. And let me tell you something about these CE voucher folks. These are great. They will allow you to get up to 15 hours of continual educational credits just with this one voucher. So depending on what state you're in, we send you the voucher. You go on this website. We use WebCE. It's fantastic. You can pick and choose whatever courses you would like. You have 1 year to do it. It doesn't expire for 1 year. We know some of you probably, maybe you're already caught up on your CE, or maybe this is the perfect timing for it. But again, this is just a thank you to you for being so loyal to our Wednesday webinar programs. Anyways, okay, let's move it along. Finding your perfect DI prospect. Well, first off, you want to choose a market that's growing. Make sure you're going after prospects where the careers are going and the incomes are going up. One market that's always going to be around is the medical marketplace. That's obviously a great example. We're always going to need health care. So if you want to pursue the doctors, the nurses, whoever it may be in the medical field, that's definitely a continually growing market. Okay. Another great way to find your DI prospect. Consider the common personality traits of professionals who work in a given market. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, let's say you're the type of broker, agent, advisor that maybe you're more analytical, or maybe you can get along, almost with any profession. You're good at mirroring the prospects or the clients that you're going after. Well, the example that we like to use is if you ever met an engineer, they tend to be very analytical people. So if you're going to sell them and approach them with paycheck protection, what do you think the best way to do that would be? Well, we feel you're going to want to analytical right back with them. So use statistics to help create the need with that particular prospect. So I guess it goes back to what I'm saying is consider the common traits of the target markets that you're going after or those prospects. An engineer may be very different than an attorney or a doctor.
Yeah, and Ben, I just want to add one thing. When you request a quote through Disability Insurance Services, we're going to send you our DIS Analyzer, which is also going to include, that analyzer is going to compare the carriers we ran, but it's also going to include our stat pack, which lists a lot of great statistics that's going to wow your clients.
Andrew, that's an excellent point. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so those are two good points right there on your target prospects. All right, let's keep it going. Finding your perfect DI prospect when it comes to the four markets that we talked about: professionals, business owners, executives, and employees. Well, how do we approach professionals? What are some ideas that you could use to go after professionals? Well, how about trade associations and hospital endorsements? Going out there and going to different hospitals to see if there's any way that you can be the endorsed agent, for a particular branch of that hospital. Maybe you have worked with anesthesiologists in the past and you know somebody that works at a hospital and there's a group of anesthesiologists. Well, you might already have your foot in the door to talk to your client that you've worked with in the past and say, well, let's talk about setting up an endorsement for all of you, and I can get you a discount, including the policy I already wrote on you a year ago. So go after hospital endorsements and different trade associations when you're working with those white-collar professionals. Business owners. Good ways to attack the business owners are professional and alumni associations, community organizations, and trade journals. A good one that we've recently, and this is kind of a hot one, folks, is chambers of commerce. Now, here's a little secret for you. There's one carrier that we represent, that we work with, that will actually provide an association discount for members of the Chamber of Commerce. Now, that's huge. So think about that. If you're currently working, or you have a prospect or client that's a member of that Chamber of Commerce, we can get them a discount if we can put together the endorsement for you for that particular city. So keep that in mind. That's good for business owners. If they're members of the chamber, it's another great way to provide disability insurance. With your executives, finding that prospect, how about forming relationships with other centers of influence? Maybe you have a relationship with their CPA, their attorney. Could be you're their financial advisor, or they're a financial advisor. That could be an in for you right there. So if you have a relationship with somebody they already know, that could get you in the door talking to those executives about not only protecting their own paycheck, but as we mentioned earlier, maybe perhaps getting your foot in the door to provide their employees with paycheck protection. And then finally, finding your perfect employee, your perfect DI prospect employees. Speak with the human resource personnel, or try to get in touch with their employee benefit producer. See what they already have. See what's in force. See if disability insurance or paycheck protection is something that's important to them. That's a good way to get the conversation started. Okay, let's move it along here. Critical get-started marketing tools. Well, again, let's touch base on each one of the 4 markets we've talked about. With professionals, the association endorsement approach. Again, this is very similar to what I talked about, the hospital endorsement. It's actually exactly what I was talking about with the Chamber of Commerce. There are associations out there, folks, that are established, that have more than 100 members, that you can go out there and you can be the endorsing agent. It means you can provide them the disability insurance with the carrier, and you're the only one that can provide them with a discount on that product. So if that interests you, if you want to go after association marketing, the 2 things I want you to keep in mind, or maybe 3, is 1, it has to be an established association, at least 100 members, and in this particular case, it needs to be either state or local. Okay? There may be an option for you on the national end. Again, we do have a carrier that does do national associations, but for the time being, if you want to focus on this, stay at the state or the local level. Business owners. Andrew already mentioned a good marketing tool earlier when he talked about the business owner upgrade. But here is a good getting started approach for your business owners. And we call it our our classified sales idea ad. This is a good approach. It's been successful for a number of agents that worked with us in the past. And all we want you to do is pick up your Sunday paper or go online, go to the classified ad section, and I want you to look and see who's selling their businesses and the reason for selling the business. And what you're looking for is you're looking for somebody selling their business due to health-related issues. They became so sick or injured, they're forced to sell their business. Now, if you can go and find out where that business is located, what I want you to do is go talk to their neighbors. Go talk to the surrounding businesses. Business owners is a very tight-knit community, so more often than not, their neighbors are going to know the reasons for them wanting to or having to close their business, sell their business. So try that. Pick up that classified ad, take a look at it, locate where that business is for sale, and go talk to their neighbors. And make sure that what happened to their neighbors doesn't happen to them. You're going in there to help them. You want to make sure they're adequately protected. You want to make sure not only is their business protected, but maybe then you could use that as a cross-sale for individual DI, life insurance, health insurance, whatever it may be. So it's a good, another good way to get your foot in the door. Use that classified ads approach. Executives, as I mentioned earlier, use the centers of influence. Maybe you know their attorney, their CPA, their financial advisor. That's a good way to get started with them. And then employees. As I've said already, that multi-life GSI approach, remember, 3 or more lives gets you a multi-life discount. 5 or more lives is going to get you simplified underwriting, no declines. So those are all great approaches. These are very critical get-started marketing tools. Okay, this is building baseline DI expertise. And we want you to be, successful in selling paycheck protection. We want to make sure you feel comfortable and confident when you're talking about paycheck protection to your clients and prospects. And what better way to do that is just by, learning more about the product, education, mastering the fundamentals, and, helping to develop your skills. Now, we do this in several different ways we can help you, and that's what we're here for, folks. These Wednesday webinars have been extremely successful for more than 3 years, but we also have great articles that the president of our company has written, one of them being a DI Dan's Crash Course which is a great DI 101 that just kind of gets you refreshed on the terms that are used in the DI industry and the different riders that you're going to see, and the different provisions you'll see in a DI contract. So the crash course is great. We have what we call our wealth preservation plan. We've got 6 sales killers and 1 secret. That disability stat pack that Andrew mentioned that you receive anytime you request a quote from us. And then the most overlooked and neglected step of the sales process, which I will touch on before we leave today. But these are all articles that are fantastic, that are here to help you to help gain some more knowledge in the DI industry.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate on that, Ben. Dan Sanderson, the president of our company, has been in the disability sales field for over 30 years, and he's put together these articles. So, he sold to the public before he started DIS. These are his ideas. And then also, never, ever hesitate to call our sales department. We have a combined over 100 years experience in there. Give us a call. We'd be happy to go over any of the information on our website.
Thanks, Andrew. All right, folks, I'm going to get ready to wrap it up. I know we might be going a little bit over that 30-minute time limit. So how do we initiate the first contact with our prospect strategically? Well, there's several different ways we can do it, different approaches. One being a simple pre-approach letter, something that you send out as a mailer, just to get an idea if there's any interest in them protecting their paycheck. Are they interested in getting a disability quote? Let's start there. Are they currently protecting their paycheck? Send out a nice letter introducing yourself, letting them know that you are an expert. You want to make sure they're adequately protected. So you can do that. Hard copy, written letter from you, very personal, that's sent out, as I mentioned, just hard copy mail. Secondly, technology has greatly increased the way we get a hold of one another over the past 10 years, and email is a good way. Send out an e-blast as your initial contact. And if you want help with that, we have letters we've already developed. We have a library of 10-plus letters that are exactly used for this purpose. Let's find out if your prospects are, adequately protected, and if there's any interest in them receiving disability quotes. So an e-blast is another great, it's actually a great time saver too. And there's a lot of different tricks we can do with an e-blast to capture information and to see exactly what your client's needs are. So anyways, this is going to get your prospect, your client's attention. It's going to create a connection, and it's going to make that first phone call you make a lot more comfortable. If they've already seen your name via that e-blast or via the snail mail letter that you've sent out, they're going to know why you're calling. So make that first contact, make it strategically, but do what feels right for you too. You know your prospects better than we do. If you think the letter is more personal, excellent. Okay, we've been talking all day about selling leads with stats. These 3 stats are part of our stat pack. I'm going to run through them real quickly, but 3 in 10 of working Americans will experience a long-term disability during their working years. And every 30 seconds in this country, someone files for bankruptcy in the wake of a serious illness. 2 amazing statistics. Now, finally, this one is one of my favorites and one that you can actually have a little bit of fun with. But let me ask you this question. Do you know what the largest minority in our country is today? Think about that for a second. What is the largest minority in the United States today? Well, if you said the disabled, guess what? You are correct. But when I first had that question asked to me, that wasn't the first thing that popped to my mind. But it's true. More than 51 million Americans are classified as being disabled, and that's according to the 2002 U.S. Census Bureau. That number is probably a little bit higher now. Anyways, feel free to give us a call to get that DI stat pack. Fantastic statistics. I can't tell you enough how important it is to emphasize the risk of becoming disabled. The risk is real. Use those stats.
Yeah, Ben, I want to cut you off because we have our second CE credit to give away too. We're going to give it to William Hammond. Thank you so much for joining us today, William. I'll be contacting you with the details.
Excellent. Thank you, William. Congratulations. All right, and finally, this is our last slide before I show you our website. The most important thing, you have to stay persistent. And whether you're selling disability insurance, no matter what you're selling, you're going to see greater results the more persistent you are. Now, just look at these statistics. These are very interesting. 2% of sales are made on the second contact. 10% of sales are made on the fourth contact. Now, look at this. After you've contacted them 4 times, you should really keep trying, because 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. So if you want to be successful, pick a good niche like disability insurance, but be prepared to follow up as much as even 12 times. But that is really the most important thing. Stay persistent with these folks, with these clients, because we're really out there to help them. Bottom line is what I've talked about all day is protecting that most important asset, which is the paycheck. Folks, that's the DI Marketing Bootcamp. Thank you very much. This was an excellent presentation, and I'm going to see if there are any questions. While I'm doing that, please take note of our website if you have not been there before. It is very user-friendly. It is geared specifically to you, the broker, to provide you with quote requests, sales ideas, those articles I discussed, anything, there's applications, whatever you may need. So check out our website if you're out there surfing the internet today, www.diservices.com. There's also that 800 number where you can reach myself or Andrew for any questions. Let's see here, Andrew. We have any questions today?
And I just wanted to mention that when you request a quote with Disability Insurance Services, we stand by our 24-hour turnaround, and we also have a fully staffed underwriting department to help you with the application process.
Excellent point, Andrew. Thank you very much. And then Jack, I've got a great question here from Jack Darden. So if group coverage is offered pre-tax or after-tax, what is the best option? Well, to tell you the truth, if you have group coverage and it's non-taxable, that's probably going to be, it really depends, Jack, I guess, to answer your question. Most group is the employees not paying for a majority of that benefit. The employer is paying for that benefit. Therefore, it's going to be taxable. Now, I'm sure there are group policies out there where a majority of it can be paid for by the employee, which means it's going to be a tax-free benefit. Either way, depending on what the client is earning, we want to make sure they are adequately protected. We want to get them as close to 65, 70% indemnification as possible. So if it is an after-tax benefit they're paying for, where it's probably going to be tax-free, we might not have as much wiggle room to supplement on top of the group as we do on employer-paid group, but still, our goal is to protect as much of the paycheck as possible. So excellent question, and it really does depend. And Jack, for that question, we want to make you the third and final recipient of our CE voucher giveaway today. Thank you very much. And I'd also just like to thank everyone else again for being here. We love doing these presentations every Wednesday. The Wednesday webinars, 11 o'clock Pacific time, but we thank you to everyone all across the country who joined us. So with that being said, on behalf of Andrew, my colleague, if there's anything else we can do for you, please do not hesitate to give us a call, and we look forward to working with all of you. Thanks again for being here. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, folks. Bye-bye.